since you don't know music at all,
I don't.
probably you you probably never even heard of James Brown, which is just remarkable to me. But okay.
I don't know. Black Eyed Peas is way more popular than James Brown.
I mean, because James. So speaking of
Cool.
speaking of series that just end,
Zero Time Dilemma. Man, that game is gonna be cool. I'm excited for it. Are you excited for it?
well, that was the one we were talking about beforehand. That's not actually what I was going to.
Full
say,
Zero Time
but,
Dilemma playthrough come to this channel soon.
I don't know about that because it's gonna be coming out in a time when I am presumably in school or
This
going
summer?
to school.
Later this month.
Is it? Is it already?
In June?
Has it? Didn't it literally like just get announced? Or
Zero
what?
Time Dilemma?
Or was that just the
No,
PC
it
version
was-
that was?
PC version was announced like 2 days ago.
Ah.
But it's releasing like June 30th.
When was the game announced?
Like probably as soon as the second game ended because it ends in a cliffhanger.
I'd never heard of it, so like I know Zero.
I don't blame you. It's an extremely unpopular series.
What? Door, please.
I thought I
Door.
could roll, you know, when there's enough space between them, but it just cancels the animation. So anyway, series are gonna end.
I have like
Dark Souls. Dark Souls is gonna.
Well, yeah.
Dark Souls is gonna end.
the two things that were in my mind were Dark Souls and The Witcher because
Okay.
the quote unquote last. I mean, I believe them. Like the the last expansion for The Witcher 3, Blood and Wine, just came out yesterday.
Yeah. That's gonna be the last of Geralt's adventures.
Yes, we are not going to see any more video games for Geralt of Rivia, apparently.
Yeah, this isn't gonna be the last game that's gonna have the Witcher name. This is just gonna be the last one of Geralt's adventures.
I wonder
They can
if,
easily base it on a different character.
yeah, I wonder if like they phrased it that way specifically because of that, like
Exactly.
because yeah, they didn't. As far as I know, I haven't read most of the announcements myself, but like as far as I know, they didn't say that this is the last Witcher game. They said it's the last like of Geralt's, like last time we're gonna see Geralt.
Exactly.
And so yeah, that leaves them open to potentially revisit like the world. Ooh, look at all these guys. that leaves them open to like revisit the world if they want to, but like they could focus on somebody else, which would be a nice change of pace, I think.
It's going to be a very long time because their next game is going to be Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah, which I am extremely excited for, actually.
Wasn't that announced before Witcher 3 was announced?
I don't know if it was announced before The Witcher 3 was announced, but it was announced like well before The Witcher 3 ever came out.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't like this area.
I can guess not. But yeah, as people should very well be able to tell by now, I am a big fan of cyberpunk settings. And though I don't have
playthrough coming soon.
Eventually, like I'm probably yeah. I'll talk about that more when I've got things figured out. But look at all these spiders.
A couple of them jumped down the hole.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have any exposure to like the cyberpunk RPG that they're actually basing the game off
No,
of.
I don't think a lot of I don't think a lot of people who are interested in it are.
Yeah, and I mean it's especially because I don't have a, I mean I don't have anybody to play tabletop RPG games with. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. So like.
That's depressing.
Whatever. But I really like cyberpunk settings, and I really like CD Projekt Red as a developer. So, oh hi, welcome.
Oh hey, Artifacts. Yeah, she goes here
you
after
make
you
dolls?
rescue her. She's a blacksmith somehow, but this is where you get boss weapons.
She's a dollsmith. That's disturbing.
Yeah, that too.
Anyway, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, I think is its full name.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it because CD Projekt Red are a very good developer. Like,
Not even developer, just a good company.
that too, like, because obviously they run GOG.com, goodoldgames.com, and it is a very good service. to put it very simply.
I mean, Steam has nothing on GOG aside from like its sales and library. Aside from that, like GOG are better in every way.
I would say like if you prefer like modern high budget games, Steam is still slightly better.
I guess
because a lot of those games use DRM, and GOG doesn't stock games that have mandatory DRM.
Yeah, yeah.
So
because
like
CD Projekt Red aren't as scummy as most companies.
Exactly. Well, admittedly they did have like when it released, Witcher 2 had DRM, but they removed it afterwards.
Oh yeah. That was like the one negative story I've ever heard of CD Projekt Red was when they complained about the people who like pirated Witcher 2. And they immediately turned around and guess what? Like best company ever.
Yeah, they launched The Witcher 2 with DRM, and because they were kind of worried about piracy and everything at the time, and of course there were a bunch of stories after The Witcher 2 came out. There was like, there were a bunch of stories that were like, oh, The Witcher 2 is the most pirated game in the history of the universe, which was a lie, but okay. They had exaggerated numbers that were like, oh, 5 million people have pirated The Witcher 2, and it's like, how do you even get those numbers in the first place? Like, you're like, yes, you can.
But we're using the key that Creighton gave us.
Awesome. You can use trackers to like kind of guesstimate, but even then, like, you're never gonna get a hard number as to, oh well, see ya, dude. But anyway, so they launched The Witcher 2 with DRM, and people were really upset about that because, GOG.com has a long-standing history of not having DRM in any of its games.
Ah, fuck.
Well, that explains sort of why that guy. Okay.
And Creighton, supposedly from the grave, just goes, "I'll leave a nasty scar," and Pate says the exact same thing if he was the one who you take a side with.
Of course. So yeah, then like a bunch of people complained about the DRM in The Witcher 2, and in one of the many substantial and significant updates that they released for the game, like very quickly actually, they patched the DRM out, and yeah, it's like, because that's CD Projekt Red, like they actually kind of pay attention to what their customers say.
Wow, it's almost like good customer service grants you more sales.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's almost like that. Almost.
It is like, but yeah, it's unfortunate that like, if, for instance, you are like me and you want games like Doom or Total War Warhammer or Mirror's Edge Catalyst, you will not be able to find them on GOG.com.
Especially for Mirror's Edge Catalyst, because you get them on all.
Yeah, that's not going to be on Steam either. But
that's the main reason. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
But like, well, those are all games that use de novo DRM, which is a fun thing in and of itself. But yeah, that's DRM. They finally managed to finally managed to beat the crackers though. Like,
oh yeah,
like de novo's kicked the ass of the cracking community. You still can't find like I think what was it, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I believe. Yeah. That was one of the first games to use, because Dragon Age Inquisition, Batman Arkham Knight, Lords of the Fallen, and I think FIFA all used an old version of de novo, and all of those eventually got cracked as well. So they've all been pirated. But then at one point de novo updated its security measures. I don't know how or what they did, but yeah, and like the latest patch for Arkham Knight, and then like Rise of the Tomb Raider, Total War, Warhammer, Doom, yada yada yada. All these games now use the new form of de novo, and it's completely kicked their asses. Like, you can't.
Okay.
They are unable to be found online anywhere, which is.
I didn't know about that.
Good job. Yeah, it's good job on de novo. Like,
whoever encrypted those keys.
It's literally the first form of DRM that isn't like always online. That's actually beaten like piracy.
Like, how long has that been out? Like, do you think eventually that's gonna be cracked?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's why people say like it's kind of beaten piracy, because like Rise of the Tomb Raider has been out since what, January or something?
Something like that.
And it's still not cracked. Like, it just isn't. And Arkham Knight, like the Arkham Knight latest patch, like that was in November or something of last year, and that hasn't been cracked either, because it uses the updated de novo. And yeah, so it's like it's apparently the one thing that has not actually been beaten, and I would not be surprised if it does get beaten eventually, but as of right now, it's the only form of DRM that has remained unbeaten for like this long, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like, it worked. I guess you got to give them that much.
Yeah. We're seeing an all-star cast here of White Phantoms.
Yeah.
Bashful Ray, you remember Bashful Ray? He's summoned him a lot of times.
He's the nobody that we have brought along a couple times already.
Okay, I think we summoned him at Earthen Peak, summoned him at Black Gulch, and we summoned him at Huntsman's Copse and Manhunter O'Hara. We summoned her for the Diablo boss fight.
Yeah, she's the one with the two bows, right? Like the bow and the crossbow.
Yes.
because everybody knows if you use a longbow, you need to have a crossbow to accompany it. Like,
exactly.
That's just common logic.
You don't just pick one and then be a lifetime expert at it. You know?
Exactly.
You need variety.
If you can't use a crossbow in one hand while you have a longbow in your other one, then you're just plain old scrub. Like,
yeah,
you got to get good. Like, that's all there is to it, man. Also, what is Bashful Ray using? Has he switched?
He's using a parrying dagger on the left, and I think that's a mail breaker on the right.
Wasn't he just using claws a minute ago?
Yeah, he does switch. He does switch around.
Strange.
He's like a ninja guy.
Interesting.
You know, Ray, that's a Japanese name, right? Ray?
Yeah, totally. Ureu.
Ureu is
Japanese stuff. Oh boy. I've actually been I have a lot of anime I still need to catch up on.
I thought you were going to mention which animes that you have catched up on, and we can have an anime discussion like weebs.
Well, the latest one I've been attempting to catch up on is latest two actually are Chaos Head, which I started watching because of Steins Gate.
Of course.
Well,
because
they're set in like the same
wait,
universe.
Chaos Head, does that have a semicolon between the words?
It does.
Yeah.
There's also a third one. There's also a third one called Robotics Notes.
Yeah, I've heard of that one before.
Yeah.
It also has a semicolon between the words.
Yeah. The Chaos Head actually came before Steins Gate, so that's interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been watching that, and then the other one is Durarara.
Oh. Let me give you a lesson on how to pronounce Japanese. It's actually pronounced Durarara.
But yeah, that one.
I've watched anime. I think I know a little thing about Japanese.
I think I know something about. Yeah, that one's by the same people who did.
Bakano.
Yeah. From Bakano. Which
Bakano is a lot better, in my opinion.
It's very good. It was actually that was one that I really liked. So when it comes to anime, I have a strange thing where if it's set in Japan or an area that is explicitly supposed to like mirror Japan,
yeah,
I can't watch it dubbed.
Okay.
I don't know why, but like Samurai Champloo, I can't watch that in English.
But it has Steve Bloom. Steve Bloom.
And then Cowboy Bebop, I'm completely okay listening to like and watching in English.
I've never heard of that thing before. Usually it's one or the other.
Yeah, I don't. Well, that's the thing. So Bakano. I tried watching it in the Japanese dub, and it was just like, you know. But the English dub for that is actually not bad.
Yeah, because they do the accents.
Yeah, because it's like it's set in an old timey like kind of.
New York, I think.
It's part of it is in New York.
Well, yeah, most of it's not train.
Not to spoil too much about it, but yeah, like it's set in the 20s or 30s, something like that. Oh, hi spiders, by the way.
We're gonna fight the spider that we met earlier.
Yeah, Freya. Yeah, but it's like set in 20s U.S. And part of it's in New York, part of it's on a train, and part of it's in the West, I think, or something. I don't remember exactly where Isaac's storyline like starts out. But yeah, like they actually kind of got voice actors who could do a real good job. So the English dub for Bakano is actually kind of good.
Really?
So yeah, so I really liked watching that in English. And then,
that opening though, that opening.
Oh, it's so good. It's so maybe I'll overlay that over the Persona 4 music.
No.
Actually, so have you seen the Persona 4 the animation?
No, fuck that shit.
Actually,
I heard it's terrible.
I didn't think it was that bad myself.
Are you talking about the original or are you talking about Golden?
I may have watched Golden. I don't recall exactly.
Well, either way, like I hear it just like retells events of the game, and I don't need that.
Yeah, basically, it's a pretty faithful like adaptation, and also what's the word? Abridging, I guess, of
okay. Yeah.
of like the game's story and events.
Where Yukiko is kidnapped at the beginning episode and she's saved like in the end of the episode.
It's pretty quickly paced, yeah.
That's always the problem because it's like a 200-hour JRPG. So.
I didn't think it was as bad as I've heard from some other people who really liked the game and really did not like the anime.
I haven't heard anyone who's liked the anime.
Well, I have, but at the same time, I'm much like with comics. I'm not overly critical of anime because I'm not. Generally speaking, I'm not the sort of person who's really heavily involved in that kind of like scene and community, so it's not as well known to me.
By the way, we just got Sif's soul. There's also a giant dragon there, so
yeah, just dragon head.
I guess the spider just took the dragon soul.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you do.
Yeah. Also, Dragon Souls. That could be another name for a Souls game. So
please no. I'm done with dragons. It's like I've become like it's as much as like zombies. Like it's just too much.
Let's be fair. This game should have been called Dragon Souls.
Should it?
Like instead of Dark Souls 2, it should have been called like Dragon Souls.
Oh, by the way, this is the room where you would find Vangarl's body in the vanilla.
Well,
and this is also added in the Scholar First Sin. Beware of Horton and hurrah for backstepping. Okay.
Hello. That's a big just mess of stuff right there.
They can talk.
Yeah. I'll admit, I'm not actually a I'm a fan of like big piles of creepy stuff as far as like monster designs go, because I like Lovecraftian stuff. So
right. So I don't think we would know his name yet, but he will explain eventually who he is. Keep in mind, this character didn't exist in vanilla.
Yeah, isn't he like a bad guy to spoil things?
Kinda, I guess. I don't know. He's sort of neutral.
Is that a mouth that's like continuously opening and closing right in front of us?
I think this would be a head, because you can see his nose there protruding, and I think the glowy thing on the right is an eye.
Like an eye, yeah. It's disgusting.
Step into my mouth.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Cave of Wonders there. It's like, geez,
yeah.
we're just gonna climb in and see a genie's lamp, like highlighted by a big spotlight coming out of nowhere.
This is what the Deku tray in Ocarina of Time would look like after like heavy drug use. Bye.
Well, just back into just sinks right into the ground. Just what?
He basically goes like, yeah, find Vendrick, which is what we have been doing this entire time. Okay, so that's just killed 4 great ones. That's it.
Beautiful.
That's it for the first act of this game. By the way, back to when you said, hey, this game should have been called Dragon Souls. Maybe. I mean, if they took out all the references to the first game and then not called it Dark Souls 2, would be preferred.
Well, I mean, yeah, because like there's, I mean, first of all, because there are so many dragons in the game, but also just because it's like the connection to Dark Souls 1 is kind of tenuous at best. Like, it has a lot of direct references and stuff, but there are a lot of things that can be pretty easily tweaked to kind of be like just more of a general like in-universe reference rather than direct continuation sort of reference.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I bought 16,000 souls worth of armor, and now he's like this.
Sorry, have we met? Oh, sorry. It's just I've been awfully busy lately.
Yeah, that's true. So basically, he's rich now. I guess.
I upgraded my stock recently. although it may be a bit out of your reach.
Yeah, so basically like, yeah, you can't handle my armor.
I'm rich.
It's too good for us.
Yeah.
I don't need to go home anymore.
Well,
yeah. So at first he's like, this place sucks. Then he's like, this place is okay in and now. I don't need to go back home.
Yeah.
I don't even know where home is. So yeah, that's kind of that's basically his quest line. So it's like gradually losing his memory.
Well, instead of becoming hollow, he just kind of goes.
Oh yeah, he's doing fine.
Just kind of goes senile.
Yeah. Oh, we're using. By the way, we did kill a hollow right after Freya, and that is basically the Duke who like, you know, the boss called the Duke steer Freya, so that would be the Duke.
Right.
And he dropped the key, which I just used then. And
Wait, what?
his Tark's dialogue changes after you kill Nadjka. After you kill her, and then his dialogue changes, and then after you kill the Duke, or I think would be Freya. If you kill that, then his dialogue changes even more. So,
yeah.
Take these.
Interesting.
Awake you at the end of your travels.
Is there any joy in this world? Like, honestly, come on, man.
We just saw the armor guy living it up.
Wow. That's because he's losing his mind. Like.
Well. So it doesn't matter.
Moral of the story: all you have to do to find joy in life is to completely lose all of your memories of everything ever.
Exactly. And also back to the naming stuff. So did you know what Dark Souls, the first game, did you know what its original name is going to be?
What's that?
So before, well, at the very beginning, it was originally going to be called Dark Ring. Which makes sense, you know. You see rings even in the logo.
Yeah.
But then they found out somewhere in Europe, Dark Ring stood for butthole. So like, we can't have that. We can't have our game series being called Butthole. And then they were like, here's something different. How about Dark Race? Yeah, Dark Race. That's what we're gonna call it. Oh wait, that's kind of like a racist term.
That would be unfortunate, yeah.
Across the world, we can't call our game Dark Race. Well, we can't call it Butthole either. How about Dark Souls? Yeah, that's okay, I guess. Dark Souls it is. So, originally, the Souls series wasn't really a thing until this game was it was called Dark Souls, because it didn't even have Souls in the title, so they would have been like completely unrelated if it was called something else, you know.
Well, it's kind of interesting.
By the way, this is where the Flex Cell essentially would have spawned in vanilla. And you fight it after its boss form, but it appears again here.
Of course, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. It's interesting how they classify that kind of stuff now, because like, Bloodborne is considered I mean, I guess.
But back then, Souls wasn't really a genre.
Well, yeah, how many people consider it like a Souls game rather than just like a Souls-like game, I guess?
Oh, you mean part of the same franchise?
Yeah.
Well, I don't consider it part of the same franchise. It's... To me, it's a Souls-like.
But in fairness, like, Demon Souls and Dark Souls aren't directly connected by anything more than their name either.
I know, but nowadays... you might as well just draw the connections. Like the only thing preventing them from having official connections is because Sony owns the publishing rights to the games. That's the only reason.
I mean, technically, Sony owns the rights to Bloodborne too, so.
As well, yeah.
Interesting how Sony manages to get all these. Like, geez, I want to see them on PC.
That's because Microsoft aren't paying attention to Japanese devs.
Well,
that's really it. Well. Get your shit together, Microsoft.
Bring Bloodborne to PC.
We already got a port of that, didn't we? I already showed you. I showed you that Pixel game.